Stack Strategies founder Maura Gillespie. Maura, in our last hour and this hour, we had the mayor of Portland and the governor saying we don't need any federal troops here. We don't have a problem. How would you answer them?
Well, there's certainly a problem. And watching these videos and watching people dox ICE agents, these are men and women who are serving orders. They are doing their jobs and they're being targeted and attacked. And I wish that there were more Democrats that would come out and condemn it. It's fine to have a disagreements about policy and not agree with what the president and the White House are doing, but two things can be true at once. You can say that you don't like the policy, but then vehemently condemn the violence and the targeted attacks on law enforcement and on people who are men and women who are have families, who have loved ones. This is just, it crosses a line that, you don't think you should have to even point out, but we have to point this out. This is egregious.
Yeah. And, in the West, it's, I suppose it's legal, but it's reprehensible at best.
It's disgusting. And again, it just shows you where we are as a society. I mean, think about all of us, right? We all have a role to play in terms of how we speak to one another, how we speak about one another, what we put out on the internet. And we can take some responsibility by, when we post comments or have comments to make about what someone said that you just don't disagree with. The old adage was that, we need to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. At this point, it feels as though we need to learn how to disagree without demonizing somebody that doesn't share the same viewpoints as you. We've crossed the line so far, we don't even know where the line is anymore. And watching that video just now, as you played it, as we were rolling into this conversation, it really made my skin crawl. It's so disturbing that this is commonplace now.
You have to wonder what the source of funding is of these people who are out there with bullhorns screaming, kill ICE agents.
Right. And also the motivation, too. I mean, yes, one thing to say you don't like the policy, but in some of these cases, we're learning about these young people who have, got, in Dallas, the person who went over to shoot up the Dallas ICE agency, he didn't even vote in the 2024 election. So many people aren't politically necessarily involved, but they're being galvanized through what means and through what avenues. And is it through social media? Is it through online games? Where are they being, encouraged to behave this way? And I think targeting those organizations or anyone who is fostering this kind of hatred, absolutely, we should be looking into. But it takes a village, right? It takes all of us to say this is not okay. Absolutely, be condemning things that are happening like this, that are targeting individuals, targeting human beings, public servants. It's reprehensible.
And then there's this weird case out of Des Moines. The school superintendent there, Ian Andre Roberts, turns out to be, a criminal illegal alien from Guyana. He had been arrested before and was given deportation orders. When ICE came after him, they find a gun, a loaded handgun in his car, allegedly, a hunting knife, and $5,000 in cash. But he takes off into the forest, runs away. How does a guy like this get to become the superintendent of schools in Des Moines?
Right, and that's certainly something I assume people are going to look into and want to follow the trail there and see how he came into this prestigious position. Listen, I think that when people come to the United States, we are the land of hope is a powerful thing. Both of my grandfathers came here to seek the American dream, and I'm a product of that. But we have to have law and order. You can't have those things without law and order. And this man, by all accounts, violated the law. He broke the law. And there are consequences to that because we have to. We have to have that system in place for us to be able to achieve what we want to achieve here. And I think that we're going to see that play out for him. Again, I'm glad to hear that his community is, rallied around him, says he's a great guy. That's wonderful to hear. But at the same time, he ran away from law enforcement. He violated the law by these reports, and we have a process for that. And so let our government do what they need to do. Let the system work the way it needs to work in this case, and we'll get the answers we need to get.
Place where there is universal respect for the laws on the books.
And that seems to be a hard place where we're at right now. I think we've lost respect for law enforcement. We've lost respect for the rule of law, but we've also lost, respect for having professionalism and having decency and civil discourse. So it really does become not just one problem, but a multitude of problems. And so I hope we can start addressing it by truly thinking about how we look into how we talk to one another, how we talk about one another, but also how we look at law enforcement. I understand that the catch-22 about ICE agents wearing a mask will feel feel fearful for their families and communities of being caught up in, any erroneous raids that may happen. There have been a couple accounts that we've heard of. So of course people, blow that up into a bigger story. But the reality is that you just show that story about being doxxed. I mean, these agents are men and women who are serving this community, following orders. They're doing their job. And so they shouldn't be targeted the way they're being targeted. And they're human beings. And we need to remember our humanity first and foremost.
Maura Gillespie, BlueStack Strategies. Maura, thank you.